Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, July the 21st, 7 a.m. New York time. Good afternoon to everyone over on the other side of the pond, and good evening to all of those on the other side of the world. Glad you're here with us. Thanks for tuning in. We are back sitting in the tree stand, hunting trophy buck setups today. Hopefully, we find one for the week. We have gone all week without being able to catch a move. We've identified about 3 different setups, but none of them have given us an entry. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes you hunt and you'll go out and you'll sit in the woods, and while you're hunting, you'll see that deer come right out, and then he'll just dart off right at the last second, and you don't get your shot. And that's fine, no big deal. It's just fun being here every day. It's fun sitting in the woods. It's fun sitting in that tree stand. It's fun just enjoying doing what you love to do. And sometimes you can take them down and sometimes you can't. And this week has been a very slow week. Really, the last 3 weeks. This will be our 4th week of very slow price action and very few setups. So, it is what it is. You can't change it. The market's never wrong. The market does what it wants to do, and we're just here to try to enjoy what it's doing and try to get on the right side of it occasionally. So, Candle Slayer and Sunrise Deadpool, Lulukani, Andy, Muhammad, Adrian, Corey, Kenneth, Bakong. Glad to have you guys all in here today. It's good to see you. Welcome back into the stream. We will be here for the next 2.5 to 3 hours, and we'll see what we see. But I hope you guys are having a good day wherever you're at. I hope it's been a good week for you. Let me know how your challenges are going. Let me know how your funded accounts are going. I'd love to be able just to kind of keep up with you. Biolemansky, Red Ezekiel. Hey guys, good afternoon, good morning. Glad you guys are in here. So it's been a all down week so far. We've just had we had a Tuesday high put in just above that weekly this weekly volume imbalance. We tapped right into the top of that, and then we've fallen off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This area right here is kind of where I'm looking at. This buy side imbalance right here is where I think we're probably going to tap into at some point today. And then I think after we tap into it, we're going to get a little bit of a reversal here. On the 4-hour time frame, it's just inside this candle, somewhere around 10.94, 10.95, something like that. I think that's that old. This is that old area, and I don't trade just straight off support and resistance, but price definitely comes back and retests certain areas, and it lines up with this large buy side imbalance right here. And price would typically wants to come back and provide some efficient price delivery there. So my eye is on this target as our draw on liquidity today. And either we might be able to catch a move down on euro dollar into this area, or this might be the grab of liquidity that then pops up and we get a TGIF push back up. I don't think we have any news. Let me check. Pound had some news this morning, some retail sales. It was an orange folder. But there's nothing else. CAD has some news today, but we're not watching any CAD pairs, so shouldn't affect us at all. So there's no news today, so it's just going to be the market finishing out the week here. And people positioning themselves going into next week. So we'll just see if we can catch a decent move here. But that's kind of where I'm looking at right now. On the 1 hour, you can see it. I really think we're going to get down into this area today. That's kind of where my draw on liquidity is. It's setting up and engineered all of these relative equal lows here, here, and back over here. So there's definitely some orders built up underneath here, and then you've got these larger gaps that it will probably want to reprice a little bit. So overnight, we just trickled up. There really hasn't been a clear Right here, we had a run on liquidity on euro dollar last night. We popped up into that, and then we had a quick displacement down. That move would have been inside of these. You could either have used this or these two. I probably would have used these two candles as my breaker if I was going to try to find a move during the London session last night. And that would be there. And you see it came back up and tapped into that. There wasn't a clear fair value gap inside of there at all. Let's see, on the 10-minute, no. 5-minute, no. So I don't even know that I would have identified that as a good trade. Had you used the lower candle here, there is a small little fair value gap in there, and that one would have been a nice little play on the London session. Did anybody see that, identify that, and take that? I'd love to hear in the chat how that worked. It actually taps right back up into, I mean, it would have been basically a sniper entry. You would have been at the top of the fair value gap again, as close to 50% as you could. Your stop would have been above the breaker or the candle here that created the fair value gap, and you would have been 1 to 2.1, which it would have been a decent, pretty quick little winner with almost no drawdown in there on that breaker setup right there. Hindsight's 20/20, but it's always good to be able to identify your moves, run on liquidity, displacement away, find your breaker, find your fair value gap, set your limits, and let price do what it's going to do. But that's where we're kind of looking at this. We haven't really had any more runs on liquidity here. This is not a run on liquidity. It didn't grab above a swing high. It just dragged back up. It's left these lows in place. That's why I feel like our draw on liquidity is still to the downside. So if we can get a pop up here and clear out some liquidity and get displacement, we might be able to catch a move down into this area, or price may just drop down in, and then we could potentially get a reversal play up on a TGIF move. Thank God it's Friday relief move, rally in the opposite direction. So it's kind of what I'm waiting and anticipating here for on the euro dollar. Corey, I'm in drawdown, but it's fine. The moment I'm out of drawdown, I'm withdrawing for a 10K or 25K account. Oh, the moment I'm out of drawdown, I'm withdrawing. Oh, I see. Yeah. So you're going to stack. I got you. As soon as you get out of drawdown, take that, get that refund, take that profit split, and buy a larger account. That is the way you grow in this business. That's the way to do it, Corey. Sunrise's challenge in drawdown 1%, phase 2, 35 days left. Oh, no. You're with a time limit. Those damn time limits, man. Sorry about that. But hey, you're only 1% down. Just manage your risk. Stay true to your system. Be patient. And you're going to have nothing left. 30 days left. Another time limit. Guys, why are you buying challenges with time limits? There are so many good firms with great trading parameters that give you no time limits. You should never, ever be buying another challenge with a time limit. Stop that. 30 days left for my phase 1. Owen, yeah, I was going to take that trade. Only no fair value gap. Yeah. Again, I probably would have used these two as well, and I would have missed that move. But it wouldn't have been wrong. You didn't draw liquidity here, so you could have used either one of those. This one is a little bit of a lower candle, but that's probably the one I would have used too. And there was no fair value gap. Happens. It's kind of been our story for the last few weeks, where we're just we're off on our entries, or we're missing one piece of the criteria, but we're staying true to our system, and that's the way you got to do this. Muhammad, I was looking for the same sell, but didn't see any clear entry. Yep. Red up 1% trading for almost 2 weeks, trying to be patient. Good job, Red. way to stay in profit, and just be patient. And if you're in one profit now, suddenly next week you could get 2 or 3 setups, win 2 in a row, and you could be 6% in profit. So the name of the game here is to only take your setups. And if you get one a week, we're in danger. This will be our first week since we started of not taking one trade at least one during a week. And so today, if we don't get into a trade today, and I'm not going to force it just to keep that streak alive. I don't give a crap about streaks or how many trades I get in a week. I really don't. And if we finish out today and we get no setup, I don't care. It is what it is. It's just we're still waiting for A+ setups, and so we'll wait and watch. And if we get one next week, or we might get 4 next week, we might get 0 again next week. It doesn't matter. Doesn't care. I don't care. Sunrise says, I was already in the challenge and they didn't switch for existing accounts to unlimited time. It's the Funded Trader. Dang it. Well, I think I just saw them say that for anyone that's in a current challenge, if you pass the phase you're in and you go to the next phase, they will remove the time limits on that next phase. I think I saw something about that either in their Discord or a tweet that they sent out. I love the Funded Trader. I'm funded with them. I think they're a great company. I'm so glad to see that they're adopting no time limits. And in fact, their Royal Challenge is pretty freaking awesome. Let me go pull up the Royal Challenge. They just introduced no time limits for the Royal Challenge. And it is a pretty sweet deal. Give me 1 second. I'm going to throw this up here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I really do like the Funded Trader. I think they're great. So the Royal Challenge, this is probably their best. Crap, I don't want to watch a video about it. All right, here we go. Royal Challenge. The downside is the smallest account they have on the Royal Challenge is a 50,000. But you get 1 to 200 leverage, 1 to 100 when you're funded. You're never going to use that much. You shouldn't. 8% profit target, 5% on step 2, 10% drawdown. So, and there's no the maximum daily loss is 5%. Again, 5% is the profit target. Max day loss is 5%. That will never come into. You can use expert advisors, which means you can use trade copiers as well. Drawdown is equity and balance. Not the best, but it's still really good. And then it's not bad on their challenge. Now, their standard challenge, they also introduced no time limits on their standard challenge. I'm not affiliated with, I have an affiliate link with the Funded Trader, but they're not paying me to do this. I'm just telling you, I like them. They're a great company. Their standard challenge, you can get the smaller accounts, but you have to get the larger profit targets. You got to hit 10% instead of the Royal Challenge. You only have to hit 8% on the profit target. So yeah, good company. Highly recommend them. I would either do standard or Royal. Their night challenge is just a 1-step, very small leverage, 10% profit, 6% max loss. I don't know why people want to do these 1-step challenges. It doesn't make any sense to me. They're more expensive. And you get way less drawdown to work with and way less leverage. Like, they really, really handicap you on these 1-step challenges. I don't know why anybody wants to do those. Just take extra time and get the larger drawdown to work with. Royal Challenge, to me, is the best way to go there on the Funded Trader, and they introduced no time limits. So, again, great company. They're following the same path that everyone else is. They have a huge following. I think I just saw they crossed 100,000 members on Discord. But they're great. They're a great firm. Highly recommend them if you're thinking about doing another account. Daz says I dropped to the 1 minute for the fair value gap. Well, if that's in your trading criteria to do, then good move, bro. I only go down to a 5 minute. That's as low as I go there, and there just wasn't anything clean. Even on the 1 minute, let me look back over here. Where is, let's just replay this from right there. If we did drop to a 1 minute. So that's the candle I would have started looking for an entry on after this candle closed. That gives us the displacement. And I immediately go, well, there's no fair value gap there on the 10 minute. No fair value. There's one at the bottom, but if I'm using, again, let me get my breaker lined up. This is the breaker I would have been looking for, something inside of there. Nothing on the 5 minute. There's no fair value gaps inside of there. Nothing on the 3 minute. I don't see a fair value gap anywhere in here. I mean, this one is way up here and it had already been tapped. So I'm not sure if that's the breaker you were using, that higher breaker block. There's really no fair value gap anywhere in here that I see. But maybe it was the other one. Maybe you were looking at the other one. What other strat do you use on your funded account? I'll just trade order blocks. I'll trade break of structure with fair value gaps. They don't have to be straight off of, they don't have to be specifically off of a breaker. OTE, I use OTE with retracements. And yeah, I mean, it's just ICT concepts. It's nothing like magical or special or crazy. Pretty basic. So for me, I would have used, and I like to use the 30-minute to 1 hour time frames on that. So I'm trying to see if I can find an example. Let me move that. I shouldn't move that. Nothing there on this move down. Nothing there. I'm trying to see on my other strategy, and I don't think there's anything on euro dollar here. If I remember from it, I typically stay up on the 30, between the 30, 1 hour and 4 hour for that strat. And I'll set orders before I go to bed going into London. And we'll try to anticipate moves back into areas and catch the direction of the trend. But we don't need to get into that. I don't want to confuse people. Eventually, I'll introduce that to you and bring that into some concepts here. But right now, we're not going to get into that. Oh, excuse me. Let's see what questions I have. I see a question mark. George Tucker. How much do you risk per trade? 2% per trade. Hey all. Cisco, welcome in. Muhammad Judah swing on New York was literally not working. Only one winner in this week and all losses for me. I looked into your strategy based on displacement with OTE on the 15-minute. I'm going to do some backtesting this weekend and try to tweak it according to me. Good idea. Definitely backtest new strategies. That's what pretty much that's the only thing that backtesting in my mind is really good for, is just being able to refine your entry criteria and identify the patterns that you're looking for, what you want to see happen. Backtesting, get a certain amount of data. Oh. And then when you go in to do it in a live market, you just want to lower your risk initially until you can get at least 100 trades with it in a live market. It's a possible setup in AU today. Maybe we'll go look in a second. How is subscribers pair today? Yeah, we'll check that out. Muhammad, higher time frame is less noisy and I'm loving it so far. It makes such a huge difference. It just cleans everything up. Staying up on that 15-minute time frame. It just cleans everything up and it gives you so much more time to really think through exactly what you're doing, and it helps calm your mind. Overplayful says, on your higher time frame ideas, do you hold and pay fees? Sometimes. I try not to on Wednesdays because those are the highest fees, but yes, sometimes I will hold. I won't hold through a weekend ever. I don't have a set risk reward ratio on that other strategy. I don't just go for 1 to 2. I will use the market level. I will use market levels to for my profit targets. So usually it's at least a 1 to 2, but sometimes it's 1 to 3, 1 to 4, but it varies. It's a little more discretionary than this one. This is my probably most mechanical system, and that's why I wanted to use this one for the 10K to $2 million funding challenge. This is my most mechanical system. It is very, there are very specific things that have to happen for me to take a trade with this system. And it does not require as much discretion as the other one does. The other one has clear rules, but there's discretion on how I can apply those rules. And you just have to think more about what price is doing and how it's moving with my other system. What's the difference between equity and balanced based drawdown? So balanced based drawdown means that your drawdown resets at the end of every day, and it's based on the balance at the end of the trading day. So it means that if you're up, equity means that it's your drawdown follows your equity. So if you're in profits, let's say you're in profits by 5% and you haven't closed the trade out, and the end of the day comes, they will reset your drawdown based on the high water mark of your floating profits. So your equity is what your account is worth if you were to close out that trade in profit. And so they will move your drawdown up based on where your floating profits are or losses, but basically your high water mark of where your floating profit is. I don't like equity drawdown. I would prefer it always to be balance based, because if you are going to swing trade and you're going to hold and they move that 5% up, like you're in 5% profit, let's say, and then the day ends and it rolls over to the next day, the clock restarts, and now your drawdown, if that trade were to come back and take you out at break even, you would breach your daily drawdown limit. That's equity based drawdown. So bad. I don't like it. Balance based is probably the way to go for your daily drawdown limit. Now on their max drawdown limit, I think it is static at 10%. Like Bespoke, it's just static at 10%. So it doesn't like rise up. It's 10% of your original account balance. So with Bespoke, it's 10%. So like with this 10K funded account, if I go up 5%, they don't move my maximum drawdown up by 5%. It stays at the original account balance drawdown. So you gotta be very clear on your drawdown rules with these prop firms. You need to have a very firm understanding of exactly how they calculate their drawdown and when it resets each day. Good morning, Stone. Cisco basically equity is bad if you're a swing trader. Yes. Have you ever lost a funded account? Yes, I have. I've lost a couple actually. It happens. Just because you get funded doesn't mean you're not going to lose an account. Muhammad, it's just ridiculous we can get $2 million in funding just from Bespoke. I know, dude. That's why I think Bespoke has the best. It really is the best firm for me right now out there. It's better. There are firms that you can get 12% drawdown on, like my forex funds, but their slippage is crap. That is probably the biggest thing with my forex funds that people complain about is their slippage. They're a great company, and you do get that larger drawdown amount of 12%. And I think they pay out 15% on phase 1 and 2. So if you pass phase 1 and 2 and then you reach funded, not only do you get a refund, but you also get 15% from phase 1 and phase 2. I would love to see Bespoke introduce that feature. If they ever ask me my opinions on something like that, that's something that I would pitch. I think that would really help push them over the top, is offering payouts from the challenge stages, not just trying to pass and get funded, but knowing that you can actually make money off of your challenges once you're funded. Now, you don't get it until you're funded and you get that first payout, but that would sweeten the pie a little bit. But yeah, Bespoke is great. $2 million in funding right off the bat. You don't have to wait months and months to scale up. Let's be honest, there are very few traders that are going to hold their funded account for months and months and months to be able to even. Scaling is just a feature that prop firms can add on, knowing that there's hardly going to be anybody that can hold their funded account that long to take advantage of that. And so Bespoke just got rid of that and said, you know what? Just buy as much as you want up to $2 million. It's fantastic. And if you want to do their one-step challenge, then you can get another $2 million. All right, GBP, let's look at some other pairs here. We're just kind of rambling. A little bit of, I'm interested to see as we get down into this order block right here. This could be, I think, our draw on liquidity for GBP today. Kind of like what we saw on Euro Dollar. All of this buy-side delivery. We completely traded through this monthly fair value gap, stabbed up into it, and now it's respecting it. And we've just had down days like every day. Tuesday was the high of the week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I think for me, getting down into this OTE area a little bit, which lines up with this 4-hour order block right here. There's a fair value gap down into here. We have relative equal lows that it's engineered overnight. You saw here on the 15-minute time frame. Let me zoom in. We ran liquidity right here very clearly. This is news. I think retail news came out right here. But you ran liquidity, and then you displaced through after grabbing all of this liquidity up here. There is obviously your breaker, and it never came back up to that breaker block right there. It actually came down, and it didn't take that sell side liquidity out. So you probably, coming down this far, you probably would have, if you had an order set there on GBP it would have probably been inside that little tiny fair value gap right there. If you had an order set there, it probably would have gotten canceled as this candle was printing. Did come back up, but not high enough into that. That's I would want to see more because I'm still here on the downside. I don't know that I would still find that viable. Maybe, I don't know. It never came back up into that breaker right there. I don't know why I can't. And then you do have that itty bitty fair value gap right in there. On the 10-minute, basically the same. 5-minute, basically the same. But it just never even reached it. On the 5-minute, it did, but I don't use the 5-minute to determine displacement. I will use the 10-minute. I like the 10-minute. It can be clean sometimes. Tom Hugard uses the 10-minute. Tom Hugard is the guy who wrote Best Loser Wins, and all he uses is the 10-minute. I know some other traders that they love the 10-minute time frame. I would anticipate this coming down into this liquidity here, and again, would be interested to know what happens when we get down into this fair value gap here. I don't need that. This fair value gap here or this order block right here. And then if you get some kind of reversal off of that. DXY has already taken out yesterday's high. Euro dollar has not taken out yesterday's low. So they're slightly divergent right now. Again, dollar just climbing higher here. Let's look at our dollar chart. And again, you just have all these massive imbalances. You would anticipate there being some kind of big retracement here. I say big. It doesn't have to come all the way back up here right now, but it has dug deep into our sell side liquidity down here. Almost completely rebalanced this monthly fair value gap that we on the monthly time frame, and you can see it's just shot all the way back up there. So it's inside this very large imbalance currently, and you could technically use some of these candles as a breaker right here. A daily breaker. So we ran all this liquidity. It didn't finish displacement. I would probably think one of these would be your breaker you would want to use. Here's your buy side liquidity that it ran, and then you get displacement through. And so this candle right here to me is the cleanest breaker. It's way back up here. If it wants to retest, it may just want to use one of these. This move up began. So if you look on the weekly time frame, here you have your last down closed weekly candle right here, runs liquidity, displaces through. This candle would need to leave a fair value gap this week, and then maybe next week it taps back up a little bit higher into this weekly breaker block, and then you get more bearish dollar. But we'll see how this candle closes out today. I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if it just filled in this entire last week's candle. I would be completely shocked by that. I do think it's going to end bullish, but I would anticipate a high of the day and then a roll back over and leave some kind of a wick here. So potentially up here back at the top of this monthly fair value gap could be a nice little drawn liquidity. This volume imbalance up here obviously is would be of interest as well. I don't know that it gets that high today. It could. But for me, I would anticipate maybe a little bit of a deeper dig and then a rollover. No real clean. Your grab of liquidity was back over here, and then it just displaced higher, and it never came back down into any of this area here. So again, if I'm probably more bullish early in the session, and then bearish as the later the session goes on. GBP. Ripping higher, right off of these equal lows. It grabbed liquidity here, came back up, failed to make a new low, and now we've taken out buy-side liquidity here. This is the daily. So we're back inside this range overall. So is this going to consolidate? Are we going to make new highs? Are we going to reverse here? Kind of neutral at this point. But it obviously cleared out buy-side liquidity here, so we'll watch and see what kind of cleared out buy or sell side here. Where did this move start? Where did we reach down here on the 4-hour time frame? Where did this move start? It started here on these two candles. So again, price is fractal, so we can identify breakers, fair value gaps on higher time frames. We're probably not just going to use those by themselves. There's your 4-hour breaker. You've had displacement through. In an hour and a half, this candle closes, and it's going to leave behind some kind of fair value gap there. If price came back down into this area, you could anticipate a push higher there if you're bullish on GJ. On the lower time frames, there's that 4-hour breaker right there. This whole move right there. So obvious point of interest if you were going to be bullish, GJ could be a pullback into this area. Grab liquidity, displace through. If you're bearish GJ, it's grab liquidity here, and you might be thinking, well, we just cleared out all of this trend line, all of this retail, all of this buy side. We haven't had the energetic move back down yet after we've cleared out this liquidity. So until you get that energetic move back down, you would think that this is a change of structure and we're heading higher. But we'll watch and wait, just like we do with every pair. US 30. This was our big move up yesterday, our moonshot again yesterday. Is this going to be a TGIF day for the indexes? Are we going to get some kind of pullback and retracement? Currently, overnight, you had this move. You grabbed liquidity here, and you had displacement back down through on US 30. So where did that move start? It started, you could just pick a candle here. Probably before we grabbed liquidity, it would have been this candle, I think. I probably would have used this big down close candle. It's rather large. Maybe this one. Hard to say. That's where you get displacement through right there. And then you've got your fair value gap inside this area right here. And we would have targeted 50% of the breaker. The fair value, 50% of the breaker inside the fair value gap. So 50% of the breaker would have been somewhere about right here. Something like that. Over here, and iffy on whether that got triggered in. That would have been unfortunate. you're inside that fair value gap. You might have gotten triggered in. Just depends. It could have been a sniper entry, but this is a great example of this happens quite a bit on the breaker block strategy. It's why I like to target as close to 50% of that breaker as I can. And you know, that would have been a decent move there. You have another one popping up here. So right here, we grabbed liquidity above these old highs and we've displaced through, and now there's currently a fair value gap right inside there. So kind of similar to yesterday, I am very, very skittish to call a high on this massive run up. We've just been getting moonshot rocket takeoffs on US 30 on any kind of pullback here. So you would be more inclined to think that this may be just grabbing liquidity under here to give another moonshot to finish off the week. For your drawn liquidity is this old swing high up here. So, what? I mean, just these last 10 days have just been complete takeoff here. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if it gives you another moonshot to the upside. But it is Friday, and after a big move like that, sometimes you can get decent pullbacks on these index moves. So you have a draw on liquidity under here. It's already taken out all the sell side liquidity from overnight. So the question, you know, again, it's just I don't know that I want to call a short sell here. Major counter trend. Do I trust that just because it's Friday we're going to get a reversal? No, I do not. So I'm less inclined to think we're going to get that this would hold here. We'll watch and see how that plays out. I'll probably just stay off of US 30 today, but we'll just use this as a data point for future reference. Aussie dollar, we didn't get our trade set up yesterday. It pulled back, never gave us a deep enough pullback to get in. In fact, it really just used, it didn't even come back up into this breaker. This breaker, I guess technically we could have used, it was at the bottom of this move up. This was the last down candle before this ran liquidity, and then we displaced through. Had we used that breaker, it would have been a really nice trade. Your fair value gap was down here, and we would have targeted 50% of that, and we would have needed to use this as our stop, the candle that created the breaker. That would have been a really nice move yesterday, but we used the higher breaker and it just never pulled back to it. Hindsight 2020, you can always see it. All right, so Aussie dollar has kind of already ran sell side liquidity here. This move overnight, you had displacement down through here. I would anticipate more downside Aussie dollar, at least here in the early part of the session. You have this large daily imbalance it's reaching back down into. If it's going to turn around, potentially down here around this 4-hour order block, see how price respects down there or responds down there when it reaches that level. And you can see it's rebalancing these large 1-hour imbalances currently. So getting down into here potentially a little bit, and then maybe you see a reversal. I would not, I know some of you guys are like, what about the breaker up here from the London session? Potentially. It would have to move pretty strongly. It depends on which one you used again. Do you use this one? Do you use this one on the 15-minute? Which one do you use? It's way back up here. I don't know that I would rather see if, again, if we're going to be, if I'm bearish on the first part of the session, we're already there. So I might be more inclined to anticipate a bullish move later in the session. So potentially grabbing liquidity here, displacing through, coming back, and then finishing out the day moving higher back up there, leaving a wick, a weekly candle wick down here. So this is all on the weekly time frame. I'm anticipating a final push down and then a reversal to leave a weekly candle wick on the bottom of this on the bottom of this weekly candle. That's kind of how I'm viewing Aussie dollar there. S&P, just kind of trickling back up here. It is a lot weaker than the US 30 is currently, but it's also been nothing but basically up. Nothing but basically up. So I'm not really in the mood to fight against the trend. So it is Friday. You could get a reversal here. You might not. And I don't want to try to step in front of a train here on S&P. So it's taking out some buy side liquidity here. Obvious trend line support. This is all going to be viewed as sell side liquidity underneath here. So it could easily just rip into here at the start of your session, give you a Judas swing, and then take off. Similar to NAS, same kind of story there. My eye is going to be on euro dollar coming down into this area. You have a draw on liquidity. If you get a pop up and then you get some displacement down, we might be able to catch something to make this run down into these levels. If we don't, if we just come down here early in the session, then I would be watching to see if we get displacement up to leave a wick on this weekly bearish candle here. So that's kind of what I'm anticipating on EU, GU, and maybe AU as well. GJ, not really sure what I'm kind of neutral now that it's back up inside this range. I'm more neutral than anything. And I just want to kind of see how it responds. But I know what I'm looking for today for the rest of our couple hours here. I know what I'm going to be watching for. So that's the kind of plan of attack. We'll jump back over here to the chat. I'm going to catch back up. So let me see if I missed any questions. I don't know that I did. Morning, Huntsman. David Dreams, welcome in. Thoughts on yen today? Any cross? GJ, EJ, or UJ? We went over GJ a little bit. If we have time, I might pull up some of the other ones. Andreas, welcome in. Manusos, GJ, this is a news move from this morning. Yeah, that retail news came out for the pound and shot that up. So it may just be a run on liquidity here if we get some, the problem with this is that where do you find your breaker here? If you're thinking this is just a run to grab buy side liquidity and reverse, there's not really, these down close candles down here for this specific strategy are what you would need it to displace through. And that's asking quite a bit after a move like that. Michael says, good morning, Brad. Could you review EU and EG London session? Think I spotted a couple setups. There were a couple little setups on EU. Depending on what breaker you were going to find. We went over this right at the beginning of the stream today. But if you use these two candles as your breaker, there really was no fair value gap entry on any time frame to utilize. If you utilized this as your breaker, there was a nice little fair value gap inside of there, and it would have gotten tagged in and actually probably hit your take profit already on EU. We haven't looked at EG, but we can pull that up. I just call this the consolidation pair. That's what I just call this. EG clear buy. You had a clear run on liquidity, and then you had a quick displacement up. So anytime you see a quick stab down, and then you see this, you're not really sure what's happening, but then you see this, you go back and you go, ooh, we just ran liquidity and now we're getting displacement. So where did that start? Probably on this candle here. This would be your last up close candle as your breaker. So there's your breaker candle. It's pretty small for a breaker candle, and there's an obvious fair value gap in there. Right here is your fair value gap. And if you were going to take this trade, again, I would target just inside that fair value gap around the 50% point. And you have to put your stop below the candle that created the fair value gap, which is way down here. I'd probably use the body. And you're going for 1 to 2.1. So this is still a trade that you would be in. It's a pretty large, I feel like that's a pretty large stop. I don't know what typical stops are in EG, but that's where, according to my rules, it's either below the breaker or below the candle that creates the fair value gap. And I will use the body of that candle to save a pip or two, but it's the difference between like a 12 pip stop and a 10 and a half pip stop. So that's your setup there on EG. If that's what you were looking at and identified, then that's what I see. I don't know if that lines up with what you saw, but that's how I would have identified that move. Alpha Bridge, good morning. John, for order blocks, is it supposed to be 2 candles or will 1 do? Well, it's order blocks are, I don't know. I guess I'm thinking about it now. I guess there is a case to be made that it's just 1 candle. But I guess it's technically 2. I need to think about that now. That's a great question. Is it 1 or 2 candles? Because you're really using the, it's like, for instance, your order block is this candle right here. It's not necessarily these 2 down close candles. Once this up close candle gets closed below on this candle becomes your order block, I guess. So I guess it's just 1 candle, technically. So you would anticipate once price closed back through there, a move back up into this order block somewhere. And I like to see fair value gaps lined up with order blocks. And I also like to use the wick to the body as potential entries with your stop above or below where that order block is. All right. So we've had a nice little move back up into grabbing some liquidity here. So depending on how price moves, if we get some displacement through here, this would be enough for me to take, it's taken out this short-term liquidity here and here. If we get some displacement down through here, then I would anticipate this candle, because it is actually the largest. If we get some displacement through here and a fair value gap, a return up and a push down into this area in the early part of this session, and then you might see some displacement back up as that wick pulls back into the weekly range. But just keep my eye on that. If it just stabs liquidity and then reverses, then we would be looking to go long. Again, I'm not going to hold to a very strong, strict, higher time frame bias, other than I kind of have this area down here as a point of interest that I would like to see the euro dollar draw to before it reverses and leaves a wick for the candle, the weekly candle. But it doesn't have to. It could just grab some of this and then reverse. And this is the low of the week. So we'll just watch and see what it gives us. Pound really didn't grab liquidity anywhere here. So not any, there's no good move here for me yet. I'm going to need to see the pound dip in and then reverse. So oh, Friday yawns. Sorry about that. Wall Street say, hey, what do you stream with? I use Streamlabs OBS. Streamlabs OBS is the software that I use to stream. And I just have a fairly inexpensive Logitech webcam up here. A little light just to kind of light my face up. That's it. I guess I do. I have a MacBook. MacBook is what I'm using as the computer. My streaming rib is a MacBook. And then I've just got a PC laptop for my MT5 terminal right over here. Candle slayer for me, I take all the consecutive candles that make the displacement. Good morning, Beeswax. Yes, Wall Street, I remember, yeah, we had a little short convo over there. I appreciate that, man. Share away. I'll take all the love I can get. And thanks for being in here today. It's awesome. Glad to see you. Man, we're up to 42 viewers right now. Not bad for our small little stream. John is correct. You can help me grow by hitting that like button. You can help me grow by hitting that share button. Feel free to retweet, put it on your socials. I'll take all the love we can get, man. I'm here for it. I'm holding shorts from the top on Eurodollar. Way to go. I mean, if you were just targeting a fill of this weekly volume imbalance, not a bad way to just target the top of that volume imbalance and just be like, I'm short in there. There's going to be resistance. It's a very logical play. And man, if that's where you caught it, great job. I mean, it's smart to anticipate a reversal after the move that we had up into this range and the aggressiveness with which it shot into here and decided to finally fill that whole imbalance. I mean, it makes sense that price would roll over a little bit here. So good job on that catch. We're starting to see some displacement here. So this next 15-minute candle, this candle has a minute and a half to go. If the next 15-minute candle leaves behind a nice, like, I don't want to see the next 15-minute candle come way down here. If it does, my play for the day, I feel like is kind of over. But if the next 15-minute candle can give us maybe a little continuation, leave behind a nice little fair value gap, then I would definitely think this is a decent setup in play here for us. Again, the dollar, I don't want to see the dollar just rip off and fill in this, come back up to the top of this monthly fair value gap here. I don't want to just see it take off. It needs to pause slightly just to give us a chance to maybe participate in a move today. $1 million. Way to go. Good luck on that. What are you in phase 1 or phase 2 on those other two accounts? If you pass If I pass my 2 accounts soon, will be funded. Did you just start them, or are you on phase 2? Or you're already in? Are you already close to passing? Phase 1, 500Ks. Oh, you have not started. Okay, cool. Well, good luck on those. That's kind of one of the things I had said on this stream is I could have gone in and just bought 400K challenges with Bespoke, and reached the $2 million funding, set them up on copy traders, and just pass. If you just pass one, you pass all. And that's not very entertaining to me. Not that what you're doing is not. I mean, that's cool. That's awesome. This whole stream is really just about, can you start with the smallest account that a firm offers and stack it consistently. Just keep passing challenges and keep stacking accounts. That's kind of what this stream is really focused on. 6 to 12 months. That is a very long runway, and very doable. If you stay patient, that's a very doable timeline. So this new 15-minute candle's opened. It's pushed up, leaving behind a wick here. If we can get a closure outside of this breaker block, then we might have I would target the top of this right here. But we're going to need to get a closure outside that breaker block here for that setup to play out. If this thing closes back inside, bullish inside this breaker, there's no setup here. But we still have 13 more minutes to go, so just hold on. Nothing doing yet. Will we get a setup today? My gosh, it has been a crazy week. We had 2 great setups, and that we called. We had to cancel both of them. We had 2 more that gave us similar setups to this, and just as we were about to call a trade, the candle that we needed to close outside of the breaker would push back up, and then it would just roll over and do what we thought it was going to do. But in the next 12 minutes, my preference is that this closes down outside of this breaker. If we get down to like the last 2 minutes or so of this candle, and it looks like we're gonna get that closure, I'll get everything set up over here. All right. No buttons have been pushed. Nothing has been clicked. Just getting my terminal set up over here in case we need to call something out. Cisco, is the setup only valid if the candle closes outside the breaker, or could you just market execute the order if you wanted? It's only valid if it closes outside the breaker and leaves behind a fair value gap, which it just closed in that fair value gap. So unless there's a fair value gap left behind on the 10-minute or the 5-minute, there wouldn't be a trade. Now, again, just remember, if we get a big reversal here, this could be your low of the day. It doesn't have to come down to this area that I said. This could just be the low of the day, and we get your TGIF reversal right here. So start of the 8 o'clock hour here, pushing back up. Still a tiny fair value gap here on the 10-minute, but this candle is going to have to close down pretty hard here from this level. There's no market orders for me in my strategies ever. I'm never just going to market order anything. That's it just breaks my rules. It sets me up for impulsive decisions, and I don't operate like that anymore. I'm not saying market orders are bad. There's plenty of traders out there that you can just, part of your system is market order. But for me, I want to do my analysis. I want to identify where everything has to get checked off on this strategy. A run on liquidity, displacement away, breaker block, fair value gap inside the breaker block, set my limit orders. And so price is either going to come and give me the price that I want, or I get no trade. So it's my price or no trade every time. So I don't do market orders. Failure swings considered as mitigation block. That is an ICT concept, mitigation blocks. I don't really ever use them or think about them. A lot of his concepts overlap. And so a lot of his concepts, you can see multiple ways to describe a move using ICT language. And if you try to use all of them, you're going to just be paralysis, like analysis paralysis. You're going to be, well, which one should I focus on? Which one should I use? If I try to use all of them, it doesn't make any sense, et cetera, et cetera. So he was 30 trying to reach back up into that little breaker block right there, but all of ICT concepts are free. They used to be paid for, but he has put every bit of his videos from his paid mentorship are now online on YouTube, on his YouTube channel for free. Of course, his 2022 mentorship series is all online YouTube for free. That's probably the best. His 2022 mentorship series is probably the best way to get introduced to ICT concepts. It's clear. It repackages a lot of his older material into a more concise view and explanation. So, I mean, there's literally hundreds of hours of content from ICT for you to watch. And it can seem daunting at first. You really need to have a clear understanding of what's happening and what he's talking about. He's created an entire lexicon of words and vocabulary to define. I think I saw recently he has 85 different PD arrays that he uses. And it's not that I don't believe him. I probably certainly do believe him. But that's just a mind-boggling number, and I don't know how you could ever incorporate all of that into one seamless understanding of the market. And maybe that's why he keeps saying it's an algorithm. Only an algorithm would be able to keep track of 85 different PD arrays and how they all work together. Because there's no human brain and trader that can do that. There's no way. You're going to be focused in on one or two concepts, and those one or two or three concepts are really all you need. This one concept right here, the breaker block concept and strategy, is all you need. It's all you need. You master it, you're golden. It works on any asset, any pair. It's just the way the market moves from liquidity to liquidity. It grabs liquidity, it displaces, it rebalances, and continues on. That's basically what a breaker block is. It grabs liquidity, displaces, rebalances the displacement, and then moves on. That's a very simple way to think of a breaker block. I've never said that before, it just rolled off my head, but I like it. Grab liquidity, displacement, rebalance displacement, and continue back. EuroCAD is great. I don't think I've ever seen a chart on EuroCAD. So in the next 2 minutes here, we have 2.5 minutes. If this is not looking like it's going to continue to displace lower here and provide a setup opportunity for us. US 30 reaching back up. Again, this is not a trade on US 30. This is just a data point, because I do not want to start trying to call a top or bottom on the indexes right now. Trying to call a top is like stepping in front of a moving locomotive. You're more than likely to get smashed. So this is just a data point of we've run liquidity, we've displaced through, and we've identified after displacement. So run liquidity, displace through, rebalance the displacement, and then continue on. That's the idea behind this play. Alternatively, because you're bullish, this could be the run on liquidity, and this could be your displacement. Much like yesterday, that's kind of what happened. You had a run on liquidity, and then you had displacement. But when it's been displacing, it just shoots off, and after it displaces, it never comes back. So, interesting little data point. We'll watch. You probably hit your TP if you took that. If you took this trade on EG, you are just about hitting take profit right now. Over playful, you're about to embark on a pretty crazy journey down a rabbit hole. Good luck. Yeah, focus just on the breaker block concept. even just focusing on his 2022 mentorship, which is very similar to this breaker block concept, even just his 2022 mentorship is really all you need. And it's the basic concept of what I just described. Run liquidity, displace after you run liquidity, and then you identify a fair value gap. It's not specifically a breaker. His 22 mentorship is basically run liquidity. Once it changes structure, once you get a break of structure, then you look for a fair value gap entry and then ride it lower. So that's kind of his basic, that's the 2022 mentorship. So, all right, so this setup is no longer a go. We did not get continued displacement down. We ran liquidity, we got displacement, but it did not continue to displace, and there's nothing there to rebalance. So it may continue lower here, and that's fine. I'd be more interested to see if we get displacement higher off of this run and grab of liquidity here, and we get our TGIF set up. We'll watch and wait. Allegedly, ICT used to claim he invented the algorithm before my time, though. Well, he says that in '96 he started coding it, and that's the inner circle algorithm. It's not necessarily the algorithm that he claims the markets run on. So he has two algorithm claims. Basically, one is the market runs on an algorithm that the central banks use, or whoever manipulates and controls the monetary system use the algorithm to move price here and there. His second claim for an algorithm is that he has coded an algorithm on the way he understands price to move, that he has coded his own algorithm. So 2 claims. Morning, left. No. Doggies doing their duty. They're early today. You're usually not down here this early. Oh, yeah, that's right. You got to run out today, don't you? Mm-hmm. Cisco says, I'm long EG, but targeting the 4-hour highs. Mauricio, the breaker block strategy, grabs liquidity, displaces, rebalances the displacement, and continues to the next liquidity. Golden statement. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Grab liquidity, displace, rebalance the displacement, and then move on. Where's Kirby? Kirby is alive and doing better than ever. I'm sad to report.
Have you ever shown him?
I don't think anybody has seen Kirby ever. They've seen Remy's face a couple times. Remy pops up here and likes to stick his nose up into the camera, but there's Kirby. The grumpy old man. He has 3 teeth left. Your butthole. Get down there. 17-year-old grumpy old man. And I'm telling you, he is a turd. I'm not kidding you. You ask anybody in our family, they'll tell you he's a turd. Yo, what is your strategy? I'll just share this with you. There's the strategy right there. You can go watch that video. It will detail exactly what we're doing and the strategy that we're using. For anybody that wants to know, it's just it's the ICT breaker block. That's the strategy. Cisco, doesn't really matter what's true as long as the strategy works. That's exactly right. The market doesn't run on an algorithm. It runs on multiple algorithms. I believe he figured out some parts of different algorithms, but that's hardly authorship. Well, I mean, if he actually coded his own algorithm, I mean, that's his. He authored his algorithm. It's his version of whatever price concepts that he has. So yes, he authored that specific algorithm, but does the market run? Do these markets, does every asset class in every pair actually have a central algorithm somewhere that is moving price? I don't know that I believe that. I do know that the man is brilliant when it comes to reading price action, and that his concepts are incredibly accurate when it comes to predicting to where price will go and reacting at certain levels and why they react at certain levels. So it's not 100%, but it's not 100% accurate, but it's extremely accurate. So, kudos to him. He's changed the entire trading world. The man, he created an entire vocabulary around trading that the majority of traders out there right now are familiar with concepts, because he just created this entire language structure around his trading concepts. Brilliant. He's worth every penny that he has made off of that. So good for him. Good for him. Cisco says, cute dog. Guys, look, don't let the cute face fool you. He is a butthole, man. That dog, if he barked into this microphone, every one of you would instantly want to claw your eyeballs out. It's the most shrill, brain-piercing bark, cry, scream that you can imagine. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And he's just a jerk. He's just a jerk. So, there's some small little part of my heart that's glad he survived his surgery. But there's also there's a larger part of me that's a little disappointed that he did not. So, can I ask why you don't use support and resistance? I don't use classic support and resistance. I use, basically, as ICT says, I use true support and resistance, which is breaker block and order blocks, fair value gaps. Those are the true support and resistance. I don't just use levels as support and resistance. Where you see levels as support and resistance, I see liquidity runs. As other people have said, your stop loss is my entry. So if you're using support and resistance and you're getting in at a support level, say right here, you're getting in right here because you see price holding up and basing out right here, and you get in right here and your stop is below this level. My entry would be, this is a turtle soup entry according to ICT. This would be a turtle soup entry. You're just going to collect all the stop losses that are sitting right there, and then you're going to reverse higher. So I do trade a form of support and resistance. It's just not the way retail views support and resistance. Kirby's like Yoda in Star Wars. Basically, man, dude's never going to die. He's 17. You know how old that is in dog years? And he is still as ornery as he's ever been. Last night we took him out for a walk, and he was giving these youngsters a run for their money, keeping up with them, just had a little bounce in his step. He'd mark a fence post or something, and he'd just start like, he'd mark it and he'd be like kicking his feet up and growling like, get out of my way. I just peed on this, letting the whole world know that he's still alive and kicking. Don't disagree with your comments, but if he was a football coach, he'd be the one that takes credit for winning the games. Absolutely, he would. 100%, John. ICT loves the spotlight, and if something happens that's good, he's definitely gonna let you know it was because he's basically the Donald Trump of traders. I'm awesome. Look at me. You want to be me. I'm so cool. And I will not give you my opinions, political opinions. I'm just saying Donald Trump's personality, ICT has a lot of that. He's going to point out his successes to you as often as he can. And cool. Everybody on Twitter is pointing out their successes. So he's no different than anybody else. He just has a bigger following, and he's more polarizing when he does it. So, but we all do that. When I win, I post my wins and I post my losses. I everything, you see it all. I call every trade. If it wins, you see it. If it loses, you see it. But he's definitely, the way he goes about doing it draws a lot of attention. What's the difference between order block and breaker block? A breaker block is basically a failed order block. So where you would expect price to hold. So this right here is an order block. This is a 15-minute bearish order block. These two up close candles, once they get traded through and below, once you get a closure below, this candle closes below, this becomes an order block. There's a fair value gap nested inside this order block. So when price comes back up into this order block, you would anticipate it pushing price back down. And you can see it moved right back up into this order block and that fair value gap, and it fell right back down. If this were like a 1 hour time frame, this is definitely an area on my other strategies that I would have tried to find an entry somewhere between the wick and the body of the bottom of that order block. That tends to be the most sensitive area to an order block. If an order block's going to hold, it's typically in that wick to body range. So I typically will target either 50% of that or just the body of the order block, and I'll often just use the bodies of the candles, not the wicks. I'll often just use the bodies of the order block candles. The bodies tell the story. The wicks do the damage. The bodies tell the stories, as ICT says. And I would have been targeting the lows that were made off of that. And you can see that would have been a 1 to 5 trade. So if you were just using an order block strategy, this is a very simple explanation of the other strategies that I use. Just in order block entry. So you have a fair value gap, you have an order block. I target somewhere between the wick and the body. My stops are typically above the bodies of the order block, and I target the previous swing lows that are created off of those displacements. So that doesn't show up anywhere on a higher time frame. So I probably wouldn't have taken that move. I was just saying, let's just say this was a 1 hour time frame. It's not. It's the 15-minute time frame. But let's say this was a 1 hour time frame. That's how I would have played that out as a trade setup right there. So that's a whole different strategy, and it takes a lot longer to play out because they're on higher time frames. You can see this one would, if these were hourly candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's like a 24-hour trade. So not quite a swing trade, but more than a day trade. So that would have been a move. I don't take partials. I would move to break even, and then I would let the trade play out on there, just targeting the old swing low that the order block displaced off of. Like I said, sometimes these are 1 to 4s, sometimes they're 1 to 2s. I need to go back and look at my data and see what the average, like when it averages all out, it's probably like around 1 to 2.5 or 1 to 3 on average after they all play out. That's a joke, by the way. We got your jokes, John. We all got our own strategies. I personally trade breakouts, fake outs, and supply demand. Good closure. You need to have your... I'm not here to convince you to use this strategy. That's not the point of this stream. The point of this stream is not to get you to take the trades I take or to use the system I use. It's really just to help you understand the psychology and the mindset behind how you should approach every trading session, what it looks like to be patient and wait and make sure every one of your rules are met before you see a trade setup. That's really what this stream is all about. And then once you pass, how you can stack and grow and get max funding. He's a program engineer, so he can decode algo. And for me, he translated algo's language by creating those terms, PD arrays. Yeah, I mean, basically, ICT Candle Slayer, that's exactly what he's done, is he's figured out a way to identify those PD arrays, give language to it, and then program that. And supposedly, he has programmed that into his own algorithm, his own trading algorithm. And whether that's an indicator or whether that's an actual bot that he uses, or, I mean, he does live executions. They're demo, but he does live executions all the time. So he has incredible accuracy. Does SMC exist cause of ICT? It doesn't exist because of him, but the discovery, or at least the explanation of it, exists. Price was moving like this all along. He was just able to be the one that basically peeled it all back and was like, here's why it reacted here, and I'm going to call it this. And here's why it did this there, and I'm going to call it this. And watch, it does it again consistently day in and day out. So I was an SMC guy too, but when I knew that SMC is just the ICT intro, I switched to ICT. Yeah. That's where I entered. Cisco, on your other accounts, do you mix your strategies into the same account or keep 1 or 2 per account? I will use multiple strategies on, I use all my strategies on all my accounts. The high 6-figure account I have with the funded trader, I mainly just use the order block entry that I kind of described here. But I will use all of the strategies. I basically have that one and the breaker block are the 2 that I use most often. I am currently trying to get data on 100 live trades on the basically the market maker sell model structure is another strategy that I'm trying to incorporate. So it's just another version of ICT's concept of the buy side of the curve and the sell side of the curve, right? So once you have the buy side of the curve, you're typically going to get a sell side. And so for this instance, we're in a market maker sell model currently. And so you've had all this move up, a smart money reversal up here. You've had a break of structure. Then you come back, rebalance, and you get on the sell side of the curve. Man, I got to sneeze. Trying not to. Ooh. So I'm incorporating some of the market maker sell and buy models currently. I'm pretty far away on getting enough data to really know how that works in a live market. So I mainly just focus on these two strategies. You really just need one, guys. You just need one. You just use order blocks and fair value gaps. Use the OTE. So if you were to use the OTE level, you pull a fib off of the last order block to the lowest swing low, and you're waiting for a retracement, and you could just get in. You just set an order right there at the middle of the OTE. You put your stop either above the OTE level or above like the bodies of the candles that kind of make the OTE level. It's very similar to the order block setup I just described, and then you could even just target your profits could be, some fib level extension below, or just a return back to the standard deviation there. So there's all kinds of ways you can use his concepts. You just need one. You need to define a clear set of rules around it. And then you need to just let the trades play out. Let them do what they're going to do. Holy moly, GJ dropping back down after grabbing that buy side liquidity. Getting that energetic displacement. So you had this quick stab up, and now you're getting that energetic displacement back through. So question becomes, are we just rebalancing to move higher? And again, I'm kind of neutral on this. We're in the middle of this range here. Kind of choppy consolidation. We're not making higher highs and higher lows anywhere. We did have a break of structure here. Came down, grabbed sell side, came back up. Broke structure again. Broke structure to the downside. We've broken structure to the upside. It's a kind of a bunch of a big mess right there on GJ, quite honestly. There you go, US 30, not respecting breaker. But it is kind of creating, like I said before, it's kind of creating that, it's grabbing sell side and displacing higher. So really this run on liquidity began up here. You do massive fair value gaps as this has moved higher here. We're into the 830 open, so it makes sense that you're getting a push there. But what are the S&Ps climbing, NAS trying to climb? The forex pairs are very quiet right now. Very quiet. We're not getting much movement at all. We had the big London push up, and then we've had not much movement at all here on any of our forex pairs into the New York session so far. Red, I have not taken very many trades on my other funded account. I've really just been focused on this stream and this $10K to $2 million funding challenge. I will look, because a lot of those happen overnight. I do still set up limit orders, but I have not put very much energy into my other funded accounts. Win rate on the order block entry. Let me look. It's similar to the breaker block entry. Maybe actually a little bit. It's probably like, I gotta find it. It is, yeah, they're basically identical. So they're both about 57%. 58.1 and 56% currently on the breaker block strategy. Very similar win rates. But the breaker block actually, well, that's not true. I probably get more setups on the order block strategy, but I don't get as many entries. So I might set an order every single day on the order block strategy, but it doesn't get triggered as often. Interesting to see that ICT is so fancy nowadays, and before ICT, BTMM method was the number one fancy stuff on the market. I'm not sure what the BTMM method was. You'll have to explain that to me. I may be familiar with the concept, but I'm not familiar with the acronym BTMM. I'll wait to see what's going to happen at the PM session indices. Yeah. You're likely going to get some kind of pullback somewhere today. But man, just a boring session so far, y'all. Pound is showing some weakness still. Man, GJ ripping it up. Whoa, didn't want that. So here on Aussie dollar, what I might want to see happen if we're going to get a pullback here off of this weekly candle that we're putting in. If it drops any lower, here on the 15-minute, if we could clear out some more sell side liquidity here, you get this move down, and then you get this move back up like this. Then you get your breaker off of these two candles here. So something like that could be what I'm anticipating Aussie dollar to do, or I would like to see Aussie dollar do. If we're going to get a setup, that's where it's going to be. It's going to be a dig down, a pushback up above these highs, and then you get your retracement to kind of create that bottom wick on the weekly candle. Yeah, EG, GJ, they're all going down nicely. Whoever's holding that EG trade overnight, your 1 to 2 got hit pretty good. Nice little setup there. I wonder if Jackson here, he likes EG. He may have caught that trade. When did that pop down at 2? Broke through 2 hours later, gave you an entry around 5 o'clock. Oh. What a grab of buy side liquidity up here. Short on Aussie dollar. $14K in profits. Why are you watching this stream, bro? We should be watching your stream. ICT Candle Slayer. All I know that reversal could happen by offering the silver bullet setup before London close. Correct. Each time I've traded the silver bullet, I feel like I'm just flipping a coin. I don't trade the silver bullet. I don't even. It's just based off of a time. It's a time-based macro, and you have to be very clear on your draw and liquidity, or else you are just flipping a coin. I find your stories entertaining. Good. I'm glad I'm entertaining. I never think of myself as entertaining, but I guess enough people do. You guys stick around here and listen to me ramble on. And you're more than welcome to share notes. If it would help us all make $14,000, we would all be very happy as well. My thing with anybody that comes in here and says they've made X amount of profits on a trade, I'm super happy for you, and I'm not trying to say that you're not doing that. The whole point of what I'm trying to get across to everyone is follow your rules. If you have a trading plan and you execute it and it ticks off every single box that you have for your trading plan, take the trade, and you're going to make profits. You're going to make profits if you have an edge in the market. So, and somebody might catch a 10 pip move and might make $10,000 on a 10 pip move, and someone else might take that same 10 pip move and only make $500 because of, their account size or whatever. So, calling out profits is fine. I'm not saying you can't call out profits, but what I'm more interested in is, did you follow your rules and execute your trade according to your trading plan? Did you make that 14K because, or whatever the profits? I'm Top Dollar is the one who just recently said this. I'm not calling him out. So don't take this. I'm not ranting against Top Dollar. What I'm saying is did you over leverage to take profits? Did you break a rule to get into that trade? Did you, I would be more interested in those ideas. So just saying that just dropping into anybody's chat online and saying, I made $14,000. Cool. That's impressive. And I'm not taking that away from you. But what's the context behind it? And did you just get lucky or not? Because if you just got lucky, that's the worst thing in the world that can happen. And I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying that can happen a lot of times. It's very easy to throw out a number and people be impressed with that. But what we really want, what would be really impressive, is breaking down your trading strategy and following your rules and then capitalizing on that to make those profits. That's what's really impressive. So he says, I'm a swing trader. I stay in trades for a week or two. Very good, dude. I don't know how swing traders do that. I don't. As patient as I feel like I am, I am not wired and built to be a swing trader. I can't do that. So the guys out there that do that and do it well, dude, they make a freaking killing. They absolutely can and do. I just can't do that. I'm not wired to do that. So good for you, man. I risk 1.5%. Max capital under exposure is 10%. That's a good, if you've got the data. I always say 100 trades in the live market. That's just kind of that's my watermark line, that if you've got 100 trades in the live market and you know what your max losing streak is, you can use that information to decide what your risk profile is going to be, what your daily loss limit's going to be, what your max exposure is going to be. So I always say 100 trades in a live market is what you need. Others may disagree. Others may be like, no, I only need 50 trades in a live market. Others might say, I need 500 trades in the live market. It's just an arbitrary number basically built around 100%. So every trade is 1% of a trading plan. And if you can get 100 trades, you now have 100% of the data that you need to be able to make some of those decisions. Classical sense has a lot of stoic qualities. I've never really thought about stoicism much in how I think about emotions and trading, but yeah, I guess there are some. I guess there are some in there that I live into. ICT guys can't hold a trade more than four hours. You're accurate. I mean, yeah, especially when they watch him trade on the 1 minute time frame every day, and they think they can do that and do it well consistently. Hey, Satria, welcome in. How's that? How's that free 10K challenge account going? You're a week in. Have you taken any trades on it? In profits and drawdown? How's that going? Red, how about on backtest is 100 trades enough? So again, with backtesting, you should get enough data. 100 trades at least on backtesting is good. But you have to know that when you take that information and you put it into a live market environment, your win rate is going to be significantly less than what you backtested. So you have to be mentally prepared for that. Oh, nothing is moving. It's like watching paint dry today. Oh. Made 20 pips with 6 trades. I'm glad you captured some pips, man. I have captured a big fat 0. That's how many pips I've captured this week. 0. In fact, I haven't captured pips in 3 weeks. We've taken 3 trades in the last 4 weeks, and I have captured 0 pips. So there you go. That tells you how good of a trader I am. I've made $0 in 3-4 weeks now. $50%. Hey, look at that. Took 2 trades, 1 break even and 1 win. Awesome. Up nearly 50% on your free 10K challenge. Way to go. Currently drawdown 5% on my phase 1, but it's okay. It is okay. It's okay to be in drawdown. You're going to be in drawdown. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You can't avoid it. Don't get scared or freaked out when you get into drawdown. Just keep trading your system. Keep trading your plan. Your edge will pull you out of drawdown. You have to trust your edge. You have to trust your trading plan. Let it do its job. You're going to be fine. Euro dollar looks like a good long. Maybe we're starting to get some displacement. We're going to need to see a big candle move up here. We've grabbed that sell side liquidity. We've grabbed all this here. There's your push up. Nice to see. We're going to need to see the next 15-minute candle, though, will be the real kicker here on euro dollar. This candle, if it can close up, that would be great. And then we need the next candle to close up and leave behind that fair value gap right there. 1% drawdown in my 10K challenge, but with a strong mind, we'll make it work. Yeah. You have to stay patient, and you have to just not put any time limits on yourself on a specific time to get out of drawdown. You just can't do that. Cannot operate that way. Smells like, I think he's saying 50% of his profit target, not 50% of his account. So Satria won a 10K account with Bespoke last Friday on the stream. And I'm not sure if it's a he or she. I can't remember. My apologies. But they need to reach 8% profit target. So I don't know why, if it's he or she. For some reason, I want to say Satria is a female name, but I don't know. It's just the way I think about, I don't know why I think that's 50% from profit target of 800. Yeah, that's what she means in 50%. I'm a he. Okay, good to know. He is 4%, almost 4%. He said almost 50%. So he's almost 4% in profit on his 10K account. And that's fantastic. After 1 week of trading, you took 2 trades and you're almost 4% in profit. That is absolutely fantastic. $3.99. Yeah, you're 4%. Just call it 4%. $1 it doesn't matter. You're 4% in profit. That's fantastic. John, when you make jokes like this is why we can't take you seriously when you talk about food, Kansas City food. It's because you crack jokes all the time, and all we can just assume is that it's just another joke, and that's why we don't take it seriously. This is why. You do it to yourself. You do it to yourself. Aussie dollar not getting any follow through here like pound and EU is. Dollar grabbing some sell side and holding above these old swing lows here, way back over there. I can't scroll back that far. It ain't no joke. Well, how are we supposed to know that? How are we supposed to know when you're joking and when you're not? Because, I mean, again, KC Barbecue, it's fine. I would also agree, it's not a joke by any stretch. KC Barbecue is really good. I definitely would disagree on whether it's the best or not. Deadpool, haha. I know many retail traders wanting to directly try the max funding account. I don't know if it's a good idea. Just trying to pop in. If you've never passed challenges before, there's no reason at all to go in and try to just buy the largest account and try and pass it. It's a waste of money. Just break that amount up. Take the amount that it's going to cost you. Like on Bespoke, I think their 400K challenge is $1,700, $1,800, something like that. Take that $1,800 and divide it up into like at least 5, maybe 10, and then buy the account size that one of those divisions would purchase. So if you divided 1,800 by 5, that's like a little over $300. So you can probably purchase a 50K account. Start there. Now you have 5 opportunities to pass a 50K account and then use the profits off of that 50K account after you've proven that you can pass to buy your larger accounts. There's no reason to go in and just buy a max funded account if you have never been able to prove that you can pass challenges and keep a funded account and reach a payout. You can be she, he, you can be anything you want, evidently. Depending on what side of the bed you wake up on, you can be whatever you want. Sad but true. Cisco, I've got to go to a meeting now, but we'll catch up with you. Really enjoying following the journey. Keep it up. Thanks, Cisco. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you coming in and watching. I feel like you could get psyched out at such a big number. Yeah, those larger numbers, they play huge mind games with yourself, for sure. No displacement, just grabbing more buy side liquidity. Again, nothing is going on anywhere. We have zero setups in play. Zero setups in play right now. So into the 9 o'clock hour, we're approaching the time where we were getting close to, we probably basically have like 6 or 7 more 15-minute candles. And the question that becomes, what is the likelihood that in the next 6 or 7 15-minute candles, we get a setup formed and an entry given? Not great. The odds of that happening go down every candle that gets printed here without any significant movement. So also, Jim the Wonder Dog could kick Hachiko's butt. Hachiko would bare his neck in submission. I did not do my research on Hachiko yesterday, but maybe today I will. I need to make a note to myself. To go look at that. Check my messages here. All right, babe, I love you. Hachiko. I still didn't ever hear what was the supernatural abilities that Jim the Wonder Dog had. You never told us what the supernatural abilities that Jim had there, other than just being a good hunting dog. Yeah, what were the powers? What are the supernatural powers? I think EU's going to hire to go lower. Any thoughts? Yeah, could be. It just it's grabbed some buy side liquidity there, and now it's still just meandering around doing nothing. Come on, John, let's hear it, man. Convince us of this supernatural powers. Let's hear it. Aussie dropping lower now. This is what I had said I wanted to see the Aussie dollar do, is drop a little bit lower and then displace higher off of this level here. I'll be interested to see how the chat pair next week plays out. What pair the chat picks, and what kind of setups it gives us this week. Of course, we started it late in the week. We didn't start Aussie dollar till Wednesday, but next week it may not be Aussie dollar. It may be something else. Interested to see what kind of setups it gives. How accurate the chat can be. Gold gonna make it. Take a look. Do we really go back to the Gilded Gal on Friday? We know what we're gonna see. Man, this 30-minute time frame. This would have been your breaker here for gold, and it didn't even get back up to it. Grab liquidity, tanked off. Tried to get back up there, couldn't get up into that fair value gap. We've grabbed liquidity again, and currently there's no displacement lower here. And even if there was, there's no current fair value gap inside this breaker. So again, this is just a bullish order block that should have been respected, and it's not. So, well, currently it's being respected. If it gets displaced through, it will have been violated, and then it turns into a breaker. But there's currently no fair value gap anywhere inside there on the 15, on the 10, on the 5, nothing. So no good setup on the Gilded Gal here. All right, here we go. John says, psychic abilities such as predicting the gender of the unborn, predicting elections, predicting the winners of horse races, as well as understanding foreign languages. He had a telepathic connection. Jim the Wonder Dog. Psychic abilities. Can foresee the future, evidently. Which is, I guess, would make him an excellent hunting dog. Right? Like if he knows where the birds are going to be before they even show up, I guess that would make him an excellent hunting dog. Good morning, Sam. I mean, does he really understand foreign languages? Or does he understand, like, dogs don't necessarily understand English or French. They don't have a concept of language. They associate words with actions. Sit, stay, no, right? So whatever language they learn that action in, I guess that's a foreign language, but isn't it more about tone for dogs? Like when you're giving dogs commands, isn't it more about your body language and your tone of voice? Like I could be speaking German, but if I did it in a happy, sing-songy voice, the dog's going to wag his tail. because he's listening to the way I'm saying it, not necessarily the words I'm saying. I don't know. I'm not trying to discount Jim the Wonder Dog. He sounds like he was an amazing dog. And he must have had a pretty impressive win rate on those predictions to claim such strong psychic abilities. Dollar continuing to show some weakness here. Tapping into some of the move, the overnight move. Needs to drop a little bit lower if it's going to do that. If it wants to rally higher. It's grabbed the buy side liquidity here. It's made a high of the week, and now we're getting some displacement down after we've grabbed this liquidity. So tap back up into this breaker right here on the weekly time frame. Displays through. We've reached back up into this breaker block right here. And we're pulling off of it. This could be the dig on buy side liquidity to roll over to get your TGIF move here. Remote viewing ability? Whoa, 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 whoa. He could predict the future and had supernatural problem solving. Remote viewing ability? His owner had people who spoke foreign languages come and give Jim commands. Jim would follow foreign commands. But what were the commands? Like sit down, stay? And did they give hand motions? Or were they just like behind a wall and he was behind a wall and he couldn't see them and he just listened to what they said? Like I need the details about this. Dog's memories commands as a tone. Sections linked to the food. If I do that, he gonna feed me. Yeah. Jim was a setter and Frank from Men in Black was a pug. Now that might be a fight I'd pay to see, but then again, dog fights have a bad reputation, so I'd have to pass. I need more information. What is this remote viewing ability? What are you talking about? Telepathic connection with his owner. He had remote viewing ability. He could see through his owner's eyes. What? Or his owner could see through his eyes? I don't even know what that means. Mr. Alfie, sorry late to the stream, but had to pick up my boy from school. Oh, summer break today here in the UK. So does the UK have school year round? because in the States, they've been on summer break since the end of May and they don't go back until August. So does the UK do like year-round school and they just get longer breaks? Like they get shorter breaks, but more of them throughout the year. Is that how that works? I want to let you know I used what you've been teaching here on EG and had my first successful trade this year. Also, was the first trade I've ever had that reached my take profit. Wow, that's awesome. If it's the same trade, we actually looked at the EG trade this morning. Oh, damn it. 8 cap. Here we go. Was it this trade? Was this the setup you took, Mr. Alfie? Right there. If it is, great catch and good job. Perfect. Well, you caught the move that some other people in the chat identified as well. So good job on that. And good job for holding to your TP. Way to go. Patience pays, man. I promise you, patience pays. Just be patient. I'm going to stay on the chat for probably another 15. I'll stay on through the New York Open here, the New York Stock Exchange Open, and then so maybe another 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes. Jim the Wonder Dog, however, could answer questions about people in far-off events. All right, I've got a. Is there like a documentary about Jim the Wonder Dog? If there is, I'm gonna go watch it because I've got to know more about him. And Hachiko, evidently, is Hachiko. Maybe they're related. Maybe they're from the same alien planet. Did Hachiko have the same abilities that Jim the Wonder Dog did, or was his just something completely different? He was just a cool dog. I don't know. I need to go investigate and see. Silly talk. You're the one that wrote remote viewing abilities, John. How can we take anything you say seriously if you don't ever give us the serious facts? Any thoughts on EU now? There's no, I mean, there's just no, there's nothing in here. There's no fair value gaps on that. Well, there's a little bit on the 5-minute. If you look inside this breaker block, nice little fair value gap here on the 5. So maybe something like that. I was kind of hoping it would make a deeper dig into this sell side imbalance here. Here on the pound, this would be, if you can get some continuation here through that breaker block, you might have a setup there. Aussie you're going to need to see displacement through here to get your TGIF reversal. Euro though might just be reaching up into some of this buy side liquidity here to make a deeper dig and just trail down lower, but don't know. We still have about 9 more minutes on this. Oops, don't want to go to the 3. I want to go to the 5. Here we go. And that's only a 5 pip stop, by the way. 7 is kind of where my minimum is. I kind of like this setup. If I can get if this 15-minute candle here can close on EU, decently bullish here. This might be our little reversal, our TGIF reversal. We'll wait and see. Man, things slow down here at the end of the stream every single day. After talking for 2.5 hours, I kind of just run out of things to talk about. Sorry, catching back up on He's a simple dog, but true loyal. You must see the movie to feel what I'm talking about. So no supernatural powers for Hachiko, just an overall cool dog. Dogfight would be pointless. Setter and a pug, a dream team. Pugs are so ugly, man. Kirby wouldn't be a good trader. I don't know that Kirby would be a good trader because he just hates most things. And I think if he took a loss, I just think he would go on tilt and just trash the computer and throw things around. He has quite a little temper, and I don't think you can be a good trader and have a temper like that. Temper tantrums are not the kind of qualities that you look for in a professional day trader. You kind of got to get past that. Again, if we can get some displacement up above that high right there on pound dollar, you might be able to get your TGIF move from there. You've grabbed all this liquidity here. So quick aggressive move down, grab liquidity. If you can get some displacement away here, get a quick little pullback and then continue up. About 3 more minutes here until the New York Stock Exchange opens. You have some relative equal highs up here on the S&P. You also have the new day opening gap over here. So you've got some clear drawn liquidity for S&P is to the buy side. Overnight, we cleared out some of the sell side liquidity, and we're starting to see some move up. It doesn't mean that you won't see a pullback today on all these indexes. You've had quite a bullish move up. So dollar grabbing some sell side here. I'm just trying to figure out, was this the run on liquidity and we're getting our TGIF move? We get a small retrace back up into this breaker here. This is down move. We initiated a run on liquidity. We're getting a breakthrough. Do we get some kind of pullback up into this level here on the dollar and then it rolls over to grab this buy side imbalance? That would line up with our euro dollar position here. And or is this just a run on some buy side liquidity here so that we can make a new low of the day? About another minute here. TGIF pullback to the 20-30% Fibo. Potentially, if you look at your weekly move here, take the high to the low. You could see it pull back up into this level somewhere. All right, into our new candle here. We did close bullish, but with some rejection on that. Do I feel confident that this is our TGIF setup? We did run liquidity to the sell side, quick stab down, and now we've had our energetic move up through. We've broken the high, closed above. There's a fair value gap. I like this setup. I think I'm gonna call this as a buy limit. How are these markets reacting to the open here? Yeah, I'm gonna call this as a buy limit order. Inputs 11263, 11193, and 11417. And we're gonna copy that out. Go over to my tweets. All right. We got our setup. We may get a better setup on GU here. We'll have to wait and see, but it still needs to get a little bit of a more aggressive move up and displace through this high before we consider GU here. But that could be what we're looking at there. US 30, little Judas swing down here currently. S&P, NAS all reaching back down into the sell side areas. So I'm using the 5-minute fair value gap, John. This 5-minute fair value gap is the one that we're using for our entry right here. And I'm using the low of this candle here because I want a 7-pip stop. 7 pips is about as small as I want to go on my my stop loss on EU. So if it takes out this liquidity up here, if it takes out this buy side area right here, then we'll cancel that order. Arnis Capital, watched your BFP interview last night. Loved your input. Helped a lot for my psychology after losing a $200K funded account due to equity-based drawdown with TFF yesterday. Thanks for watching that interview, and I'm glad you found it helpful, and welcome into the stream. Arnis Capital, thank you for being here. And thanks for popping in the chat and saying hi. Sorry about losing that funded account, man. That it stings anytime you lose a funded account. You did all that work to get to a certain place, and then you lose that account. It sucks. I've lost funded accounts before, so it's no fun. But it's not the end of the world. You've already been there once. You can do it again. Um, and equity-based drawdown, not good. I don't like it. Not a fan. I avoid equity-based drawdown if I can at all possible. So there's plenty of firms out there that offer just balance-based, and they've gotten rid of equity, trailing equity drawdown. So maybe check out a firm, Bespoke. I highly recommend. There's a link in my YouTube page. If you want to purchase with Bespoke, you can use that link. I do get a very tiny, small commission if you use that link. You don't have to use it. Don't feel pressure to use that. But if you want to support the channel and how we do stuff here, I don't charge anybody for anything for sitting over here doing this. I'm going to be trading every day, and I just stream it while I do it anyway. So Artist says it is what it is. At the end of the day, already in with BFP challenge starting trading Monday while I cool down after yesterday. Cool. Yeah, it's after you lose a funded account. Like, what I always recommend, if I blow a challenge or I lose a funded account, basically I'll just take the rest of the week off. If I blow it on Tuesday, I'm just going to close the charts. I'm not going to do anything else. I need to get my head right again, reevaluate the reason I lost. Was it because I'm breaking rules? Is it because I lost my cool? Is it because I took the trades that I was supposed to take and I just hit losing streaks and they violated the drawdown? Like, why did I I try to dissect why I would lose an account in a challenge. And then from there, just take a break. And then when you come back, you're fresh, your head's right. You've done the things you need to do to just get in a better headspace. And, so no rush to get back to getting funded. Just keep trading your system. Just keep trading your plan. Don't focus on trying to pass. Just focus on trying to execute. I'm using 8-cap feeds on all of the charts here. These are all 8-cap feeds. Nice little respect of this breaker and fair value gap. You would have had to use this lower stop. That's the only problem, is that it would have just been a super high stop, which would have put your TP way up here. Which, I mean, if you get a moonshot again on US 30, it's no problem. But it definitely came back down, tapped in, and, sitting in profit currently. But this thing may just roll over, it may just chop the rest of the day. Who knows what's going to happen with these indexes here. Pound getting your displacement. So Here's your TGIF reversal right there on GU. The question becomes, will EU cooperate and give us any kind of pullback here to participate in its TGIF reversal? You're going to need one more candle to print here on GU before you have some type of setup available. There's no currently fair value gap inside of here. You would need your fair value gap to stay open right here on the next candle. And then your third candle would be where you would anticipate an entry. But you're getting pretty deep into the trading session at that point. The stop on Euro is 11193, which is it's a 7 pip stop. It's below the last bearish close candle. The last down close candle is where that stop is at. Euro dollar is showing a lot of weakness there on EG. GJ pumping, GU pumping. TGIF stands for thank God it's Friday. It's just a way to refer that you typically see on Fridays. You see a reversal from the overall weekly direction. So at least a pullback from the overall weekly direction. So if you've been bullish all week, price has just been pumping higher and higher and higher. On Friday, you can expect a little bit of a retracement. People are taking profits from that bull run. If we've been bearish all week, like we have been so far this week, you can anticipate that price is going to pull back and leave a wick on the bottom end of that bearish candle. Typically, that's what you can expect. So when you say TGIF, it's just people taking profits if they've been holding or they've been moving stops down all week long. That's kind of the idea there. About to get tagged in. And there we go. Finally, we were triggered in. We got into a trade. Meets our criteria. This is in line with kind of the expectation of the TGIF play. We've grabbed yesterday's low here, and now what we're anticipating is a move up higher off of this level. So we're rebalancing this 5-minute fair value gap there. The danger on this play is that we could be grabbing buy side liquidity to make one more low of the week before you get that pullback. So that's kind of the danger here. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. Again, this trade meets our criteria. We have a grab of liquidity. We have displacement away. We're rebalancing the displacement, and then we want to see a continuation higher. So we'll just have to wait and see how this all plays out. Now, there's nothing else to do. We can take and we can move this alert down, and we'll put this alert about right here. If we can get back up into these highs, we'll move to break even. So somewhere around there. I'll go ahead and copy this and give an update on that trade over on Twitter. And I say this every time we get into a trade. I want to be, I would rather be wrong very quickly here. If I'm going to be wrong, I want to get tagged out fast. I don't want to just sit around and chop and sweat it out, basically. I want to be wrong very quickly. So I want to see price. If it's going to run down and hit my stop, I want it to run down and hit it fast. That's my preference anyway. I don't want it to again, if you're going to be wrong, you want to be wrong fast. That's my main point, I guess, is what I'm trying to say is let's just, if we're going to sit around and wait all day. If we finally get into a trade, let's find out quick whether we're on the right side of the market or not. Looks like we're on the wrong side of the market. Looks like the dollar definitely wants to pump here. Euro is showing a lot of weakness. This setup looks great, says Spiffy, as our stop loss gets smashed. And we haven't been tagged out yet. Almost. There it is. Well, we found out fast. We found out fast. Take that off. Took another L. What's GU doing over there? Pulling back too. Dollar ripping higher. So there is that final dig down into liquidity. Let me pull that out so we can see. And then we'll go post our L for the world to see. All right. Tweet is sent. We can update our stats while we're on the stream. Might as well do that. Taking the L's. Taking them like a champ. All right, let's update our account balance here for our 10K funded account. 421.39. Let me highlight that. Let me get back over there. So just above 6% on the funded account in drawdown. And then I need to get the other information here. Is this a breaker block entry? It was a breaker block entry, and it was wrong. Dollar just reached that 4-hour daily liquidity void, did it? I added to my sells on that little move up. Good job, Corey. I'm in a short position. Good. Yeah, if you're short, you're on the right side of the market. Again, this was the buy side, run of buy side liquidity. You could potentially be looking at a short down into this area. This just could be a deeper stab into this sell side here to get your TGIF move up. We may have just been a little bit early, waiting around, and then just got a little bit earlier. There's not much here that I would probably have done different. As I analyze this trade, it meets our criteria, quick stab down into sell side. The aggressive move back through wasn't as probably super clean as it could have been. So this aggressive, after you've grabbed liquidity, this big move back up probably could have been a little bit cleaner maybe. But it definitely closed above, and there was a clean fair value gap right there in the middle of that breaker block. So it fits our criteria. It met all of our rules. So I'm not, there's nothing about the execution of that trade that I would have done differently. And so it's just a loss. I mean, it just is what it is. We may have just been a little bit early in our anticipation here of a reversal back up. So if this runs back up and hits our take profit, it does. It's no big deal. It just confirms that, you know, we were just we were the liquidity today. And technically we weren't, because we're not even in the live market. These are all just demo trades. So it is what it is. The market wasn't hunting my stop, because my stop doesn't even exist in the market. It's hunting these stops under here, and it's grabbed them now. So it's done what it needs to do to run higher. Oh yeah, I need to update the other accounts here. 941513. So that is right here. Still basically 6% in drawdown here. And then the last one will be our 100K should be around 93,948. All right, we've dug ourselves a little hole. We're in it. My max losing streak is 4 in a row, so we still haven't hit that. And if you include the break even, technically we didn't lose 3 in a row. We did have a break even trade, but I don't like to count my break evens when I'm considering my win rate. They're nothing trades. They happen. They don't happen as often as the wins and losses. It's actually very rare that we get break even trades. So it's either a win or a loss typically. So in a little bit of a drawdown, we've got ourselves in a hole. The nice thing is I understand what my system is. I understand what my trading strategy is. I'm not worried about it. I'm not fretting about it. There's nothing in here that bothers me. I'm not shaken to my core. The rest of my day and my weekend is not going to be ruined because we took an L and we're in drawdown right now. Like guys, it's just is what it is. It's just a trade, and we will get more setups and we will get winners, and we'll be the next winner will pull us almost all the way out of drawdown if the next trade is a winner. And then we're back on track. So there's nothing to fret about here. At least for me, there's not. I hope that you don't feel major worry about anything that's going on there. So 7% in drawdowns. Looks like this weekend we'll be back to the drawing board. Yeah, could be. I mean, it's always good to go back and review your week and figure out if you could have improved your trading anywhere. Cisco Muhammad, if you already know your stats and data, you shouldn't need to change the strategy. Yeah, like I'm not going to go back this weekend and be like, oh my God, let's find a new strategy. We need to change the strategy going into next week. We don't. I know what my strategy is. I know what my win rate is. I know what my data says. And I know that if I execute this system more times than not, I'm going to win more often than I lose. Now that I've taken 3 losses in a row, I'm very confident that a winning trade is about to happen because more than 57% of the time, these trades win. So I'm not worried about this trade. I'm not worried about the last 3 trades. I'm not worried about this week. I'm not worried about this month. I truly am just focused on the next 100 trades I'm going to take with this system. And in the end, it's all going to play out. It's going to be just fine. Let me get through the rest of this chat here. I don't really know ICT concepts, but I think considering that there was an inverted hammer over there, wasn't that trade very risk? Again, I'm sorry that I don't know your style. I just want to know. Aditya, no, I don't trade specific candles like inverted hammers or dojis or shooting stars or pin bars. I don't take into account any of that. I know very specifically what my trading rules require me to see before I'll take an entry. And it fit all my trading rules. Every box was checked, so I took it. And I did note the danger is that we didn't dig very deeply into this sell side liquidity here. We just barely tapped into it. So that there was, I did say there was a danger that we could make a deeper dive into that sell side before we saw a retracement. And apparently that is what it wanted to do there. So took the L. No big deal. We took the L. Next week we could get 3 trade setups in a row and we could win 3 trades in a row. And this is how professionals traders approach the markets. They're not worried about the outcome of any one trade. New week, new opportunities, all good. I'm in major drawdown. I'm at 6 in a row. Sheesh. Yeah. I've been there, John. I have been in major drawdown. This is major drawdown. For me, 6% is major drawdown. So I'm in the drawdown club with you, my brother. Aditya entered long on Euro. As long as it fits your trade criteria, as long as it fits your trading plan, good luck on that trade. I seem to have a lot more luck with buy or sell stops. There are a lot of traders that really love trading with stops, meaning you're trading in the direction of the displacement and you're catching those breakout moves. There's a lot of traders that have a lot of success with that. So, um, why did the euro wick down here? Just to grab more of these orders, more of this sell side liquidity. Remember when I started this stream, I had said that the draw on liquidity was down here around this level, and that I was hoping that early in the session we would see a drawdown into these fair value gaps and imbalances down here. I was hoping that early in the session we would have seen euro trickle down here, and then in the last 30 minutes or so that we just traded, we would have seen the displacement up from there. So I think that it probably it tapped into that liquidity here and displaced up, but then it's just dug in deeper into this sell side liquidity right there. That's my logical trading reason behind why I think it did that. Your strategy worked for me this morning. Your psychology is the most useful and important. Take it from me. Yeah, your mindset really is the key here. The strategy works. It's not the strategy didn't fail us. The strategy works. And the execution fit well. So again, I'm not going to sit here and just dissect every bit of this trade. It fit the criteria. We checked it all off. And there you go. I mean, that's it. We took the loss. Let's see what next week brings. Have a good week. See you, Mauricio. Aditya, it's a great concept, man. I love your psychology. Try and succeed to execute like a robot. That's basically it. You know your system. You know your rules. You just execute the plan. The outcome of any individual one trade doesn't mean anything. If you're flipping a coin and I let you flip that coin 100 times, you don't care if it's tails one time and heads the next. Over 100 trades, you're probably going to get 50 of each. And as long as you're winning twice as much as you lose, you don't care if it comes up tails 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row. It doesn't matter. Have a nice weekend. Yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and call the stream here. We've done our job today. We've waited. We were patient. We knew what we were kind of looking for. We saw evidence of it. We executed the trade and we took the loss. And that's just what it is. I do hope that you will get away from the charts this weekend. There's no reason to just shred your strategy and rebuild it from top to bottom. Maybe all you need is just to close the charts, get away, and go get out and do something and enjoy life this weekend. The markets will be back next week, and we will have more setups next week to trade. So you guys hang in there. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate you guys watching the stream again today. As always, if you haven't hit that like button before you get out of here, if you'd hit that like button for me, I'd appreciate it. And stay safe, happy hunting, and we'll catch you on Monday. Catch you later.